Hello and welcome to the Shaman's View, the perspective from the invisible world. I'm Dr. Alberto Villoldo. Today we're going to be continuing on our topic of journeying. Journeying is a shaman's strategy for exploring the cosmos. So while in the West we use the mind to study the world, the shamans, and both in Tibet and in the Andes and in the Amazon, use the mind to study the mind, to go inside and from the journey within explore the wisdom of the cosmos. So the journey that we're going to be taking today is to discover the source of our suffering. What is it that keeps us from experiencing life to the fullest? And in the shamanic traditions, this is caused by an original wounding, a personal wounding that we have that may not even originate from this lifetime, that maybe came from something that happened 5,000 years ago when we were living in Mesopotamia in one of our previous lives. Finding that original wound and witnessing it is extraordinarily healing. Not fixing it, because it cannot be fixed. It can only be embraced and acknowledged and the gifts discovered. So the very act of seeing, of witnessing what occurred, will be tremendously transforming because we no longer have to hide from it. Now we receive it, we embrace it, and then we need to discover what was the universe offering us as a gift that we failed to receive in the moment and that derailed our destiny. This is the foundation thinking of shamanic journeying. That the only way that you can recover your destiny is to discover what derailed it in the first place. And that is that original wounding that sent us from a destiny that we had selected for ourselves even before we were born, a contract that we made with spirit that was so beautiful and that was derailed by trauma. And then we were no longer in the hands of destiny, but we fell into the grip of fate. And fate is fatal, is deadly. Fate has been pre-selected for you. Fate is a future that has been preordained by your genetics, by the drama that runs in our families, by the karma that we bring from the past. And fate is really a terrible burden that we keep struggling with throughout our lives. It's what they call karma in the East. Now, the shamans discovered that we could recover our original destiny, that we could remember that original contract that we made with spirit. That's going to be in one of our later videos. How do we recover that original contract? And not necessarily the operating contract that we're working with today, which is generally full of bad deals that we've made in order to feel safe in the world. So we cannot tear that contract up and rewrite it until we are willing and able to witness that original wounding and then receive the lesson that was offered to us. Because it's in the wound, it's in that hurting place that we also find the greatest gift of grace. Not by trying to fix it, but by acknowledging it and bowing to it and asking life to teach us, asking the universe to offer us that lesson again, and this time receiving it through the Via Illuminata, not the Via Dolorosa. So this is a very ancient archetype that you find in Europe, the Via Dolorosa, the painful way, the way of pain and of suffering. And I remember when I was in Sunday school many years ago, and I was learning about the Passion of Christ. And I thought, oh, the Passion of Christ, maybe this is the story of his loves. When did he fall in love? I mean, he was a boy. He must have had a romance. And then I learned from the priest that the passion of Christ was the suffering, was the Via Dolorosa, the way of pain, to go to the crucifixion and through that way to get to the resurrection. So the model of the shamans is the Via Illuminata, the way of illumination, so you can receive the wisdom and go through the renewal, the process of the death of the old and the birth of the new that is found throughout nature, that actually nature goes through every autumn. Every autumn the leaves fall, the energy goes down into the roots, into the underworld, and then in the spring, the leaves return, and the first thing that comes with it is the flowering. The flowers come, and then the fruit, and then the cycle repeats itself. How do we step out of the Via Dolorosa, the painful way, into the Via Illuminata of learning directly from the wisdom of the universe, the wisdom of the cosmos? This is really at the crux of the medicine traditions. I was being interviewed a couple of days ago, and the interviewer asked me, "What shamans are healers, right?" I said, "Yeah, they practice healing. And some of us have a calling to help alleviate suffering and to help our loved ones and to help our friends. But the main work of the shaman is to guide the village, is to guide humanity, because this is the human village, the global village we're living in today. This is the task of modern shamans, of you and I, to guide us through the Via Illuminata, so the way of illumination, so that we can truly alleviate suffering on a great scale." So we're going to practice that journey today. And I want to invite you to take a moment to find a candle, to light a candle, and so that we can have a little bit of the illuminata, of the illumination of the fire that we work with, keeping in mind that the shamanic traditions that I'm sharing in this sequence are the fire traditions. They are the rapid transformation traditions. They're not the ways of water, which is the ways really of the midwives and the healers, or the way of wind, of breath, which is the way of the storytellers, even though we do a lot of storytelling as well. And it's not the way of earth, of the people that bred and crossbred their wisdom and their corn. Ours is the way of fire. So take a moment, if you have a candle nearby, find it, light it. And then we're going to be embarking on our journey. So remember that the shaman's art is journeying. It includes prayer, it includes meditation, stillness. You need to come to stillness. So we will begin our journey with a stillness practice, with a way of stilling the mind, of quieting the mind. And when the mind is quiet, being able to use the vehicle of the mind as a vehicle to explore itself, to explore the cosmos that is best reached by going within in a very deep and quiet place. So I'm going to guide us in our breathing meditation, inviting us to drop into our breath and practicing a breath that is the 4-4-4 breath. In our ordinary life, that is that hectic life that is really caught in fight or flight and keeping up and catching up, we breathe 12 to 15 times a minute. Do that at some time. Measure your breaths. Find a clock with the second hand and see how many times you breathe in a minute. Or you can wear one of these wonderful new electronic devices that tell you how frequently you breathe while you sleep. And you'll find that it's between 12 and 15 or 16 times a minute. That's the breathing of fight or flight, of survival. And we want to drop into the breathing of journeying, which is 2 to 3 times a minute. So I'd like you to begin by taking a deep breath, inhaling deeply, and exhaling, and inhaling deeply again, and exhale. Now inhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold empty to 4. 2, 3, 4. Inhale to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold to 4. 2, 3, 4. Exhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. Empty to 4. Inhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold to 4. Exhale to 4. Empty to 4. Inhale to 4. Hold to 4. Exhale to 4. Empty to 4. Inhale to 4. Hold to 4. Exhale to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Empty to 4. 2, 3, 4. Inhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold to 4. Exhale to 4. Empty to 4. Inhale to 4. Hold to 4. Exhale to 4. Empty to 4. Inhale to 4. Hold to 4. Exhale to 4. Empty to 4. Inhale to 4. Hold to 4. Exhale softly to 4. Empty to 4. And now inhale deeply. And exhale. And allow your breath to return to normal, gentle, easy breath. And I'd like you to take a moment in silence and quiet and to expand your Viracocha, to bring your hands to your heart center and expand that 8th chakra, that radiant orb that we have above our heads, that you see around the Buddha and around the Christ and around the sages. And then on an in-breath, begin to bring your hands up into that radiant orb above your head and expand it. That 8th chakra, that is who we are in between births. That downloads all of the wisdom and karma and pain and knowledge and generosity and suffering that we've had in our long history into the body. And that determines the course of your life. But when we're in the body, the 8th chakra is empty because it exists outside of time and it manifests in time. It is our luminous body, our light body. So we're stepping into infinity, into timelessness. Stepping into timelessness so that we can fix things outside of time and they manifest within time. And I'm going to guide you in a journey through the world tree We've done this journey before. Finding the great world tree. This is that great tree that was the tree of the fruit of knowledge, of wisdom, that was guarded by a serpent in our mythology. It was not the serpent that brought us the fruit. The serpent was the guardian. The serpent was the feminine. In all of the ancient mythologies, you find that the serpent is coiled around the arms of the goddess. It's the sacred feminine. It's the serpent of wisdom, the kundalini, that caduceus of medicine that has two serpents intertwined and acquiring wings at the very top. So we're going to go into the world tree, and we're going to go down into the roots, into the very deep roots, the tap root, and that is connected to an underground river, and will take us to this underground stream where we will lie down on the stream and allow the waters to cleanse us and wash away any energies that we cannot bring with us into the realms of the soul, into the lower world, the realms of the ancient wisdom that is guarded by the gatekeeper. And the gatekeeper is known as Huascar in the Andes, the Lord of life, the Lord of death, the keeper of the wisdom teachings. And you allow this river to carry you deep into the belly of the mother and to wash you onto the shores of a sacred cavern, of a sacred garden, which is your Eden. And look around you, there is a light, and you'll see the forest and the flowers and the meadow, and in the distance, there'll be a mountain, and the mountain will have a rock face, and you feel called to go towards this mountain, walking through the meadow, coming to the base of the mountain and noticing that there are 4 doorways in this mountain. There are 4 entryways that are sealed in stone, but you see above each doorway a sign. There's the chamber of wounds, the first one. The next one is the chamber of contracts. And we will be exploring later those sacred contracts or terrible contracts that we have made with ourselves and with spirit. The chamber of grace and the chamber of treasures. But today we're going to be exploring that first chamber, the chamber of wounds, because it's in that chamber that we come and we witness. We don't try to fix anything. We've tried to fix that original wounding so much and in so many ways in the past, through our loves and our relationships and our bosses and our cities and the dreams that we've chased and have been unsuccessful. We're simply coming there to witness and discover what is the gift that is hidden in that terrible wounding. Did you learn compassion from it? Did you learn that generosity is a result of that wounding? What is it that you wish to take back? Not the wounding anymore, because that's what derailed our destiny. That's what brought us into the grip of fate. We want to come and witness. And in the witnessing, we will be able to receive the gift, not to change anything. Very important. We'll make our way back to the meadow, back into the shores that we were washed up on, and enter that river again and allow it to carry us back where we entered. And then we're going to follow the taproot back up to the tree of wisdom and back up to the surface, and we'll step out of the trunk again and make our way back into our homes, to our bodies, to ourselves right now. So join me in this meditation, and I'm using my journeying drum. This is a drum I only use when I'm journeying. And it has the sacred vine, the sacred vine of the teacher plants of the Amazon. And I'd like you to state your intent. To state your intent for yourself, to discover that original wounding, that original wound that each one of us carries, and that is different for each one of us. State your intent with your heart. I wish to be shown that which I have kept secret for so long, even from myself. I am ready. I wish to learn the wisdom that was offered to me, and to receive that wisdom now. And I'd like you to imagine that you're in a meadow, beautiful green meadow, moist grass beneath your feet, walking barefoot. In the distance you see a great tree, the world tree, a tree of wisdom, and you make your way towards it. And as you draw near, you sense the vibrancy of the roots humming beneath your feet, and the branches that reach up into the clouds, into the heavens, and the great trunk of the world tree. And you notice that it beckons you, it invites you to come in, and you are in your luminous body. So you enter the trunk of the great world tree. And inside the trunk you feel the rivers of sunlight that are flowing down towards the roots from the leaves, and the streams of water flowing upwards from the roots, mineral rich. And you follow these streams of minerals and waters down into the roots, past the rich moist earth at the surface, following that great taproot, allowing it to take you deeper and deeper into the earth, past the giant boulders, until the taproot becomes very thin and narrow, and it enters into an underground river or stream that you can lie in. And you lie in it. Cool, cleansing water that has never seen the surface, that can wash away any energies that do not belong in the realm of souls, cleansing you, healing you. And when you're ready, taking you deep into the belly of the mother, deep into the belly of the mother, and washing you onto the shores of a sacred cavern, of a sacred garden. And there is a light, and you stand up and you look around you, and there's a forest to one side, and a river, and the flowers, and a meadow. And in the distance, there's a mountain with a stone face, a stone wall at the base of the mountain, and it calls to you, and you walk towards it, walking on the meadow softly. And as you draw near, you see that there are 4 entries, 4 doorways of stone. And above each one, there's a sign. The first one will lead you to the chamber of wounds, where you will witness that original wounding, if you're ready for it. The second one, the chamber of contracts, that we will explore on another visit. The chamber of grace. And the chamber of treasures. But the one that's open today, that the stones have parted, is that chamber of wounds. And you take a deep breath, and you feel the sun on your back, and you walk into this chamber, into this dark passage, into a chamber that is lit, where there's daylight. And who's in that chamber? What's going on? There's a stage, there's a play. Who who are the actors? And you can stop any one of them and ask them, what's going on? And you understand that each one of these actors is a part of you. That this is the story, the theater piece that lives within you of that original wound. And you stop any one of them and you ask them, what's happening here? Why are you sad? Why are you crying? Why are you laughing? Who is that person in the corner? And you ask that you be shown. That you be shown that original wound that lives within you. That you're ready. And you simply witness. Whatever spirit is offering you right now, you simply witness, trusting and knowing that you're offered as much as you can handle. That you are ready for whatever it is that is being shown to you. And you don't fix anything, you don't change anything, you simply witness and know that in the act of witnessing, that you're inviting this ancient wound to come out of the shadows. That you're cognizant and conscious and receiving it with love and asking to understand the lesson that was offered to you by Spirit. So you receive the wisdom, not the pain, not the suffering any longer, but the wisdom. No matter how difficult the dish it was when it was offered to you. That you embrace that wisdom. That wisdom might have been gentleness, forgiveness, compassion. Later we'll discover why it is that we had to learn through such difficult circumstances. But the important thing here is to witness. To witness not only the wounding, but to receive that lesson. And to practice gratitude for what was offered to you. Not what happened to you, but what was offered to you. The underlying gift, to find that silver lining. We've spent enough time trying to fix. Now is simply an opportunity to witness. And ask any questions that you wish to ask of any of the players there. If you don't understand, ask them to explain to you. They will tell you. And go to that self that was you at another time, but that you no longer are. And ask her, ask him, what is the gift here for me? Even as you witness beautiful or terrible things that occurred. And understand that you have finished that karma, that you're finished with the Via Dolorosa, the way of pain and suffering. And notice how in the act of witnessing, the players begin to dissolve. That scene begins to dissolve, to disappear, to dissolve and to resolve. And you step back now and you bow down in gratitude. Thank you for showing me. And you notice that there's a presence by your side, and it's the gatekeeper, the one known as the Lord of life, the Lord of death, the keeper of souls. And you thank her, you thank him for showing you the way of wisdom, even in the midst of suffering. And allow the scene to dissolve in front of you. And now prepare to return, thanking the guide, the gatekeeper, Huascar. You who are known by so many names and so many cultures, thank you for showing me the way to the deepest wounding in my heart and in my soul, and the gift that lay in it. Thank you. And make your way back out, back into the meadow. And notice as you step back to the meadow and you turn around how that entryway has sealed itself, has returned to stone. That chamber of wounds has now returned back to stone. And know that in our next journey we will come and visit that chamber of contracts and to renegotiate some terrible contracts that we perhaps entered into at another time in order to feel safe. But that's for another journey. And begin to make your way back towards where you entered, to that beach where you entered, past the fields of flowers and the forest. This is your garden, your Eden. And make your way back to the waters and dive into the waters. Let that stream take you back to the place where you entered. And rest there once again, allowing the waters to wash away any energies that you may not bring with you into our world. You have the wisdom. That is what you want to bring back, that gift of wisdom that was so hidden in that suffering, in that wound. And that you healed simply by witnessing. And when you're ready, step back into that taproot. Step back to that fine point of that taproot and allow the streams of water that are going up that taproot to guide you back past the giant boulders, higher and higher, up towards the surface, past the rich, moist earth, and back to the main trunk of the world tree, of that tree of wisdom. And feel the streams of sunlight coming down from the leaves and the rivers of minerals and water coming out from the roots, cleansing you and strengthening you, returning you back to nature. And when you're ready, step out. Step out of the world tree, back into the meadow, and turn around and bow to the world tree, to that tree of wisdom. And thank it. And begin to make your way back, bringing with you that gift of wisdom. Make your way back across the meadow, feeling the moist grass beneath your feet, coming back into your room, into your body. and into now, into this moment. This is the great journey of the shaman. The very first journey is to prepare to witness that original wounding, and in witnessing it, allowing it to resolve and to dissolve. In the West, we have this original wounding revealed to us through our myth of creation. In the West, we learned that Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and that they were kicked out of the garden because they tasted the fruit of the tree of wisdom. And as we're being kicked out of the garden, there's a voice that says to the woman, "For cursed is the earth because of you, woman. Cursed is the earth." And to the man, the voice says, "And with the sweat of your back, you will take your fruit from the earth, and it shall grow thorns and thistles for you." The voice didn't say the earth will grow mangoes and papayas and strawberries, but thorns and thistles. So right at the beginning, we find an original wounding that the earth is cursed because of woman, of the feminine, and that our mother, Mother Earth, will not look after us because she will grow thorns and thistles for us. What a terrible original wounding. And no wonder we have so many mommy issues in the West, because at the beginning we learned that the feminine is cursed and that our mother, Mother Earth, will not support us and sustain us. Oh, it is so important that we find how that mythical original wound that we read about in our mythology lives inside each one of us. And once we witness it and we receive the underlying gift, the gift of that wisdom is different for each one of us. Then we can embrace it. Then we become free. Then we can step out of the grip of fate and come back into our destiny, into our calling, into our summons from spirit, that we re-embrace that mission, that original mission that we set out for ourselves even before we were born. This is the very first journey that the shaman undertakes, to find the source, the cause of our suffering. Not to treat the symptoms and the effect, not to try to medicate it or sedate it or go numb with alcohol or relationships or sex, but to come back to that source and to heal that original emotion that we felt, that original feeling, which was shame. Because on the very last day that we were in the garden, God comes and calls on Adam and Eve and says, "Where are you and why are you hiding?" And the man says, "Because we are ashamed." Because we are ashamed. That was the very first emotion that we felt, and that's at the core of that original wounding, the healing of that shame that we all feel. Shame is not that you did something bad, but that you are bad. And we heal that because we know that we are now in that via illuminata, that we're now recognizing the goodness in our hearts and in our souls and how we can bring that to the world to create beauty. Thank you for joining me in this journey. I encourage you to repeat it again on your own. Always have fire lit. If anything that you bring back is very heavy and sorrowful or has affected you in some way, put it in the fire. Blow it into a stick and release it to the fire. Let the fire transform it into wisdom and into knowledge. The next journey we're going to be taking is going to lead us to the chamber of contracts, to find what were the contracts that we made after that original wounding. Our great-great-grandparents, Adam and Eve, they made a really bad contract, a really bad deal, which is that they'll never return to the garden again. We want to be sure that we renegotiate that contract so we return to that divine relationship that we had with nature and with spirit in the garden. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me in this journey. And thank you for joining me in this kind of series of journeys that we're making together that are so important at this time in our history. Thank you for joining me in the Shaman's View, and I look forward to journeying with you again next week. Aho.